Hello, thanks for joining me. I wanted to bring some new information out that I haven't yet talked um, about communicating with your crystals, which is usually meaning you're tapping into your inner sense of clairvoyance, inner hearing, clairvoyance, inner vision, clairaudience, inner hearing, clairsentience, which is a feeling. So it's bringing all these kinds of abilities into play when you are communicating with your crystals. And the reason this topic kind of came about is because I was in the bath, and sometimes I'll bring certain crystals with me. And these two I chose intuitively. So this is Super 7, which is probably one of like my very interesting ones. Even the shape it's carved in, it's really cool. It's a heart. And this is a rose quartz, but I was drawn to it because it's just the shade of rose quartz, quite interesting to me. Um, and you'd think, oh, I want to heal my heart center, but um, it's not really why I chose them. It just intuitively felt like, oh, these ones, right, today. So I had this one here. It's like, oh yeah, for my heart. And then what happened was, I think either accidentally, maybe accidentally, it moved into the throat. And as soon as it moved there, I started to feel big shifts happening, like a loosening in the throat area, which was pretty cool because um, it's almost like the crystal's like, I belong here. And it kind of went there on its own, which is pretty cool. So that's the moment I felt inspired to bring this video forward because it's really important to understand these things about crystals is that so the main thing is a lot of people will choose crystals for themselves based on the properties that are known, right? And like you'll read a book or you'll go online and you'll say, okay, crystals for sleep, crystals for ascension, crystals for anxiety. And a lot of crystals will pop up and you might choose based on what you read. So that is one way to do it, and it's a good way to start, but I do encourage you to start using more of your intuition because what the crystal is for is not necessarily what it's doing for you. So there's a bit of a difference because just like everything, crystals have energy. No one crystal is exactly the same. So it's emitting a specific frequency, and usually that means that that frequency will be drawn to wherever it needs to, specifically the specific person, specific place, um, specific cleansing even. So it's really important to understand that and start to realize there's a lot more than just what you read. So I can the Super 7. So this one, it's funny because the story behind it is it was like it was in a shop, and it was like in an enclosed case. And every time I'd walk by it, I was like, "Ooh, I really want that one." And if you have that, like zooming in on a specific crystal that draws you in, there's usually a good chance that that crystal's yours. Like it's very specific, like you were just pulled right in, okay? And and I was looking at the price and I was like, "Oh my God." And I couldn't leave it there. Like it would not let me. Like so sometimes you will feel like the crystal is already yours. The more you tap in, the more you'll know this. And then if I wanted to leave it there, like basically what was going on was this thought of, okay, you can't leave it there. Like, so whether it was my own or divine talking to me, doesn't matter. When you have a repetitive thought that just keeps on coming in and it's like something like that, then you probably want to listen because it's definitely trying to tell you something. So so I bought it. And as soon as I took it with me, like I bought it, and this is where it might sound a little weird. It was like laughing, like with joy. And it's not it's not like it had a mouth and, the frequency of this stone vibrated within me joyfully, and it was giggling and happy, and every time I focus my attention on it or I pick it up, it does the exact same thing every single time. Like, it's happy to serve and happy to be picked up and happy to be used for something. It's like a joyful stone. It's unbelievable. And I hopefully I don't sound crazy. So I'm telling you, tune in, right? So that is now, I'm not sure if it's just a stone for joy. I feel like when it moved into the throat chakra while I was in the bathtub, it felt like it was also helping me bring out more of truth. It softened this whole area, which I was hoping to do for my next video. So here I am. Okay. And it's great. Like, so you might read what this crystal's for, but what it does for you is very, very specific. So just trust that, right? So yes, this is my little joyful stone, my little giggly stone. And so let's see. And another one I can give an example of is this one, which is Apatite. Almost forgot. Okay. Apatite. So Apatite, it's a bluish stone, bluish green, no, mostly blue, really. Another Apatite is this one, which is like, I could tell a story about this one too. Really cool. If you can see that pattern, it's like, oh, yeah, like mesmerizing, right? Okay. So this one, you may see me in some videos holding it because it helps me channel information. And so because it's blue, it definitely could be working on the throat chakra. It is part of this stone, but it also, for me particularly, is helping me in my healing sessions, in my videos, to bring out truth, right? Which makes sense. But there is something about it specifically when I'm doing the healings. I always have it near or I'm holding it. My patients have seen it, and I sometimes keep it in my pocket. Not to seem like weird that I'm holding it all the time, right? So that one. This one may have other properties which I'm still discovering. But the story is like I was at an expo and it was sitting on top of like a display, and I walked by it and it was the first thing I saw. And I personally knew, like, because of the way I zoomed in on it, I told the lady selling, I was like, yeah, that stone's mine. Like, I gotta buy it. Like, you just start boom, 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 boom. You just know. And I was told different things about this rock, about what it does for me. I do know that it has a presence during the healing sessions. It does something to transmit or bring in information. So I sometimes have it there present when I'm doing a session. Actually, many times, almost all the time now. So another person told me that it might be connecting me to my ancestors somehow, which is, I haven't used it in that way yet, but if so, hey, great. So that is that. So the main things you want to be able to learn from your crystals is, well, the first thing is, well, one thing, what are they specifically doing for you? And so, like, there's, I don't know if I have one here, but like one of these black stones, I don't know, obsidian. I think this one's obsidian. Oh, I also have a unicorn. That's part of my altar. I can talk about that later. I'm sure it's very obvious and noticeable right there. Okay. So obsidian, right? I think it's obsidian. Many people know this as protection. I have a lot of black stones that are known for protection. I haven't tapped in, or maybe I have and I forgot, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's for protection for me, so you really need to question. And what you could do is hold the stone and just say, show me what I need to know, or guide me on what I need to know. Show me what is it that you're doing for me. And you want to really tune in, because it could come as a word, like you might hear a word, you might see a word, you might see you might see something like a vision, all right? Um, and you might feel it. So if you have a bunch of crystals like I do, obsessively collecting all of them, I really like crystals. I think they add a lot to my life. Um, you really want to understand it and then work with it, because then you can use it for healing particular things, or use it for, so another thing is, some of these crystals are not necessarily for me. So I might keep them here, but when I do a healing session, I grab the ones I need, and sometimes they're not the same ones. If it's a particular patient, sometimes I look here and I grab like a few, and sometimes the ones that are never meant for patients will not move from here. So it's also good to know, are the crystals meant for you specifically? Are they meant to be used in some work you do, like if you're a healer, or maybe they're meant to be placed in a workspace to help you work? So it's really good to know. So yes, another question you can ask is, sorry, probably like a cat hair stuck to my face. Another thing you can ask is, where do I put this crystal? Like, where does it physically belong? I'm not the greatest with that, because like a lot of mine I just like keeping in my little corner here, but it is good to start to tune in, because each room, each space can benefit from the energies of certain crystals. Like, you want to be able to tune into what each one is trying to do. So I do have some work to do, because like I have a few like around different places. Um, but it's nice, if every day you want to pick up one and say, hey, do you belong here? Where do you belong? And just feel it. You might even feel drawn to a specific place in your home, or it might not even be in your home. And, so you just, maybe it's in your car, maybe it's in your workplace if you're working. Um, so, yes. So that was just another example. Sorry about my cat meowing. He does that when I'm not paying attention to him. Okay. And okay, so knowing what it's doing for you, knowing if where it goes, and if it is even for you. Like, so another thing you can ask is like, is this crystal even mine? Like, is it mine? Because some of us will collect crystals unconsciously, not really realizing that we're supposed to gift it to someone else. And it takes some time and effort, but you can pick up a crystal or two every day, and just start to ask questions like, is this crystal for me? If you feel no, then it might be that you have to give it as a gift to someone else, and that might be hard to do. But if you start to release the material, like, knowing that if you give the energy with good intention, you're gonna get what is yours anyways. Like, something will come back to you. I've had people gift me crystals before, and I've had to do that too. So it's not like it doesn't happen. It's just, you have to be ready for that kind of exchange. Like, I'm pretty like, ooh, I want my crystals, but I have given a few away. So it's not something that is hard to do. It's just, it might be if you've never done it before. Okay, and so let's see. This one standing in the middle here. This is tourmaline with mica. I think that's what that stuff's called. It looks gold. Anyways, this is another one that pulled me in. I want to encourage all of you, though, if you are in a gemstone store or some spiritual store, and you're pulled towards a crystal, do not worry. Don't go in with an agenda. I always walk into crystal stores without an agenda. And I'd say 90% of the time I end up leaving with something, whether it's a crystal or some sort of a book. Trust where you are pulled. If you feel like, or what you can do is, when you walk in, ask, is there a crystal I'm supposed to take home with me today? Yes or no? You might feel it. You can muscle test. If some of you know how to do the swaying method, muscle test, you can, if you have a pendulum. I don't know if you want to get in, bring a pendulum with you and do all that. Well, in a crystal store, they'd love it. They'd love to see you do that. But what I'm saying is, you want to be so like aware as soon as you even walk into a store. is there even something for me today? And then if there is, well, then you start to kind of gaze around and, maybe you'll find it. Maybe you won't. It's you're playing. It's like you're playing with energy, you're playing with divine, because these are all very specific to specific people, right? Okay. So this one is all about, like, if I tune into this one, okay, what is it that you want to show me or know? Okay, something about calming your mind will enhance the ability to be yourself. And then I saw my connection to Pleiadian energy. So I haven't tuned into this one in a while. I kind of knew that it had something to do with being myself, but I guess I was just sort of seeing, let's expand on that, right? So this one, again, pulled me in. So it was words, and then it was a visual, and then it was also, I felt energy moving. Another way you can kind of know if a crystal is for you is if you hold it and close your eyes, and don't worry, because those stores usually don't mind if you do this, and you notice the shift in your body. You might feel like you're moving or swaying. You might feel more still, centered. You might feel like, a lot of the time, I feel like a clearing in my brain, like my head clears up or something. So first thing you want to do is, if you're drawn to one, you just hold it. Just hold it and feel. And then if you feel a shift inside you, like a clearing or a calming or some movement of energy, it's very likely that the crystal will help you. You may not know consciously what it is, but if you feel something good, trust that. And then you can ask questions, maybe once you have it, or even in the store or wherever you are, right? So I think I can't remember if there was anything else I wanted to say. There might be more in other videos. If people like this one, I'm very happy to talk more, maybe more specifically on cleansing crystals, and a lot of people already know that stuff, but maybe I'll channel some more information to give for all of you to start to be more in tune. And like a lot of people, I have my bracelets here that I make, and a lot of my students, patients, when I've had these on display, so here they are with the little tags and stuff. When I've had these on display, I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, which one do you think I should wear or take?" And the first thing I'll say is, which one are you drawn to? That's the one you should take, right? I don't really like, I mean, once in a while, like if the person's like, well, I don't know, and like then I will tune in what will suit them best. Like that's usually what happens if they can't tune in. So even just by looking at these, I don't know how good the lighting is on it, but you might already feel pulled into a specific one, a specific color, a specific energy, a specific design. Like, and most of them are pretty simple, a little bit of bling here and there, but the intentions, like everything was made through divine guidance, and I like, just by, this is a way to practice, you could just see, that one, like you might just feel drawn to one, and that's fine, and that is totally fine. That one's a bit better to see there. Okay, yeah, right. So that's how you do it. You tune in, you zone in, you feel, then you choose. And then you read. Like if you're like drawn in and you're not sure why and you're new to all this, you're always welcome to read about the crystal that you chose later on, like afterwards, right? It's okay. And it might be cool because you'll be like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense," right? And many times, like, people are drawn to the color blue, and then they'll realize, oh, the color, like this crystal's a lot to do with my throat chakra. Oh, that makes sense, right? it's just little things like that. You'll start to realize, oh yeah, I didn't really need to read the book. I actually chose the right one. But again, what the book says might not be what that crystal does for you. So just remember that. Like, really start to trust what you feel the crystal is trying to teach you, because they are teachers. And I also encourage you to, every so often, if you have a big collection like me, just just pick like, feel like, oh, I need this, I'm going to use this one today in my meditation. You don't have to use one specific crystal all the time for the same thing. Every day might be a little different, and you might choose the same one all the time. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, open yourself up to the possibilities of what these crystals are really there for, what, how you can use them, what they might be trying to tell you. Okay, so I still have a bunch of these for sale. I do not know right now how to sell them because I'm not really like a fan of online selling. So if you're interested, my website doesn't have every single one updated. But if you're interested, please let me know, because I have too many right now that I need to kind of, you know, get rid of. Yes. And if you like enjoyed this video, I'm gonna probably start encouraging, please click like, thank you, and share if you think that this is like some knowledge that someone might be benefiting from. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. That'd be awesome. And if I get a lot of good feedback on this, then I will continue offering more videos like this, because it's really important to know these little things, especially if you're a light worker, if you're into this spiritual stuff, or if you're just diving in. Crystals are very special. They are from the earth, and they have a lot of high vibrations. They have a lot of lessons for us, and we can communicate with them. And they can laugh, apparently, like this, my little favorite one. No, well, not, I mean, they're all my favorite, but this one's special because it laughs. So, I don't know, maybe you could feel that, like the joy in it. There is a lot of joy in this one. So maybe you can tune into that just intuitively by looking at it, right? Okay, so thank you for joining me. Love, light, and health to you. Namaste.